Hi, welcome to the quiz. You will be presented with multiple choice questions, each displayed on screen for a short time before the answer is provided to you. Please make sure to attempt answering all the questions. Quizzes help us to reinforce our knowledge, identify areas where we need to focus more, and improve our overall performance. Taking quizzes can also help to increase retention and make the learning process more engaging and enjoyable. With that out of the way, keep track of your scores as we go along so that you can share your results by writing a comment at the end. Let's get started. Good luck. Which of the following is a way to audit AWS resource usage? AWS Config, AWS CloudTrail, AWS Cost Explorer. All of the above. AWS offers a variety of ways to audit resource usage, including CloudTrail, Config, and Cost Explorer. In the shared security model, who is responsible for configuring and managing the security groups for Amazon EC2 instances? AWS. Neither customer nor AWS. Customer. Both customer and AWS. Configuring and managing the security groups for Amazon EC2 instances is a customer responsibility in the shared security model. Which of the following is a primary responsibility of AWS under the shared responsibility model? Configuring security groups for Amazon EC2 instances. Encrypting data stored in Amazon S3 buckets. Managing user access to AWS resources. Protecting the infrastructure that supports the AWS services. AWS is responsible for the security of the physical infrastructure, hardware, and software that runs AWS services. This includes protecting data centers, servers, and networks from unauthorized access, physical damage, and natural disasters. What is a shared responsibility in the AWS shared security model? Patch management of customer applications. Setting up multi-factor authentication for AWS accounts. Data classification and encryption. Security group configuration for EC2 instances. Data classification and encryption is a shared responsibility between AWS and the customer. Which of the following is a tool that can be used to assess the security posture of AWS resources? AWS CloudTrail, AWS Identity and Access Management, IAM, AWS Trusted Advisor, Amazon Inspector. Amazon Inspector is a vulnerability management service that can scan AWS resources for security issues. What is the purpose of AWS WAF, Web Application Firewall? Protects web applications from common attacks. Monitors application performance. Filters network traffic. Manages user authentication. WAF specifically focuses on protecting web applications from attack vectors like SQL injection and cross-site scripting. Which of the following is a type of encryption that AWS offers for data at rest? All of the above. Client-side encryption, CSE. Server-side encryption, SSE. AWS Key Management Service, KMS. AWS offers a variety of encryption options for data at rest, including SSE, CSE, and KMS. What is a customer's responsibility in the shared security model when using Amazon EC2 instances? Securing data within the EC2 instance. Ensuring physical security of data centers. Monitoring AWS service health. Configuring AWS Identity and Access Management, IAM, roles for EC2 instances. Securing data within the EC2 instance is a customer responsibility in the shared security model. Who is responsible for managing encryption keys in the shared security model when using AWS Key Management Service, KMS? AWS. The customer. Both AWS and the customer. Neither AWS nor the customer. In the shared security model, both AWS and the customer are responsible for managing encryption keys when using AWS Key Management Service, KMS. Which of the following is a way to isolate resources in AWS? VPCs. Security groups. All of the above. Subnets. AWS offers a variety of ways to isolate resources, including VPCs, subnets, and security groups. Which of the following is a benefit of using a security baseline in AWS? All of the above. Enforces consistency and security standards. Simplifies compliance audits. Automates security tasks. Security baselines offer all of these benefits, helping to establish and maintain a secure environment. Which AWS service can be used to manage user identities and access permissions? SaaS applications. IAM. KMS. Cognito. IAM is the primary service for managing identities and access in AWS, providing granular control over users, groups, and permissions. Which service is an example of AWS responsibility in the shared security model? Amazon CloudFront. Amazon RDS. Amazon S3. Amazon EC2. Amazon S3 is an example of AWS responsibility for securing the infrastructure in the shared security model. Which of the following is a customer responsibility under the shared responsibility model? Encrypting data in transit between AWS services. Patching the operating system on Amazon EC2 instances. Managing user access to AWS resources. Protecting against DDoS attacks. Customers are responsible for managing their own data and applications, including access control, encryption, and patching. What is a benefit of using IAM roles for EC2 instances? Simplify provisioning and configuration. All of the above. Improve security by avoiding static credentials. Enable centralized audit and control. IAM roles offer all of these benefits, making them a secure and convenient way to manage EC2 instance access. What is the purpose of AWS config? Provides recommendations for improving security posture. Manages user identities and access permissions. Automates security patching. Continuously monitors resources for compliance with security standards. Config focuses on continuously monitoring and assessing resources for compliance with desired configurations and security standards. What is an example of a customer's responsibility for data in Amazon RDS? Physical security of RDS data centers. Managing the underlying infrastructure of RDS instances. Encrypting data in transit. Configuring automated backups for RDS databases. Encrypting data in transit is a customer responsibility for data in Amazon RDS. In the shared security model, what is a customer's responsibility for securing Amazon EC2 instances? Monitoring AWS infrastructure health. Configuring security groups and network access control lists, NACLs. Securing the underlying hardware of EC2 instances. Configuring automatic scaling for EC2 instances. Configuring security groups and network access control lists, NACLs, is a customer responsibility for securing Amazon EC2 instances. Which of the following is a way to monitor AWS resources for security threats? Amazon CloudWatch, Amazon GuardDuty, AWS CloudTrail. All of the above. AWS offers a variety of tools to monitor resources for security threats, including CloudWatch, CloudTrail, and GuardDuty. In the shared security model, what is an AWS responsibility for Amazon RDS databases? Configuring access controls for RDS databases. Securing the underlying infrastructure of RDS instances. Managing automated backups of RDS databases. Securing database query performance. AWS is responsible for managing automated backups of RDS databases in the shared security model. Which of the following is a responsibility of AWS in the shared security model? Implementing network security for customer applications. Encrypting customer data. Securing customer data backups. Providing physical security of data centers. In the shared security model, AWS is responsible for the physical security of data centers. What does AWS provide to help customers meet their security responsibilities in the shared security model? Physical security of data centers. Encryption at rest for S3 buckets. Automated patch management for customer applications. Security groups and NACLs. AWS provides tools like security groups and network access control lists, NACLs, to help customers meet their security responsibilities. In the shared security model, what is a customer's responsibility for securing data in transit? Ensuring physical security of data centers. Configuring SSL/TLS for communication. Configuring server-side encryption for stored data. Securing the underlying network infrastructure. Configuring SSL/TLS for communication is a customer responsibility for securing data in transit in the shared security model. What falls under the responsibility of AWS in the shared security model when using Amazon RDS for database hosting? Monitoring database query performance. Encrypting data at rest in RDS instances. Patch management of the RDS database engine. Configuring access controls for RDS databases. Patch management of the RDS database engine is a responsibility of AWS in the shared security model. In the shared security model, who is responsible for managing the lifecycle of AWS resources, such as terminating unused instances? Customer. Both customer and AWS. AWS. Neither customer nor AWS. Managing the lifecycle of AWS resources, including terminating unused instances, is a customer responsibility in the shared security model. Which of the following is not a best practice for secure logging in AWS? Enable logging for all services. Delete logs after a certain period. Rotate log storage keys regularly. Archive logs securely. Deleting logs can make it difficult to investigate security incidents and comply with regulations. Archive logs securely instead. Which of the following is not a recommended practice for securing data in Amazon S3 buckets? Grant access to authorized users only. Store sensitive data in unencrypted form. Enable server-side encryption with customer-managed keys. Use versioning to protect against accidental deletion. Storing sensitive data unencrypted is a major security risk and should be avoided. Always encrypt sensitive data at rest, regardless of the storage location. Which AWS service provides a fully managed firewall to protect applications hosted in Amazon VPC? Amazon CloudFront. Amazon Route 53. AWS Shield. AWS WAF, Web Application Firewall. AWS WAF, Web Application Firewall, provides a fully managed firewall to protect applications hosted in Amazon VPC. What is the recommended approach for managing access keys in AWS? Rotate them regularly. Never share them. Store them securely. All of the above. All of the above are best practices for managing access keys in AWS. What is the primary purpose of VPCs, virtual private clouds, in AWS? Provide a central management point for resources. Simplify network configuration. Isolate resources in a private network. Improve resource performance. VPCs primarily serve to isolate resources in a private network for enhanced security and control. Which AWS service allows customers to centrally manage access to their AWS resources? Amazon S3. Amazon CloudFront. AWS Identity and Access Management, IAM. Amazon Redshift. AWS Identity and Access Management, IAM, allows customers to centrally manage access to their AWS resources. What is a customer's responsibility for securing their AWS account? Monitoring AWS service health. Configuring automatic scaling for AWS resources. Managing IAM users and permissions. Physical security of AWS data centers. Managing IAM users and permissions is a customer responsibility for securing their AWS account. Which of the following is a way to protect against DDoS attacks in AWS? AWS WAF. All of the above. Route 53. Amazon Shield. AWS offers a variety of ways to protect against DDoS attacks, including Shield, WAF, and Route 53. While not directly a DDoS mitigation tool, Route 53 can be configured with health checks and failover routing to redirect traffic away from overwhelmed resources during an attack, minimizing downtime. What does a customer need to consider when securing data at rest in Amazon S3? Securing data transmission to S3 buckets. Ensuring physical security of S3 data centers. Configuring access controls for S3 buckets. Configuring server-side encryption. Configuring server-side encryption is a customer consideration for securing data at rest in Amazon S3. In the shared security model, what does AWS manage for the customer in the context of AWS Key Management Service, KMS? Specifying encryption settings for S3 buckets. Creating and rotating encryption keys. Configuring VPC security groups. Monitoring access logs for customer applications. AWS manages creating and rotating encryption keys as part of the customer's responsibility in the shared security model. What is a responsibility of AWS in the shared security model for Amazon VPC, Virtual Private Cloud? Securing physical access to VPC data centers. Providing and managing the virtual network infrastructure. Monitoring application performance within VPC. Configuring access controls for VPC resources. AWS is responsible for providing and managing the virtual network infrastructure in the shared security model for Amazon VPC. What is a customer's responsibility for securing data in Amazon DynamoDB? Securing the physical facilities of DynamoDB data centers. Configuring access controls for DynamoDB tables. Managing the underlying servers of DynamoDB tables. Configuring encryption for data at rest. Configuring encryption for data at rest is a customer responsibility for securing data in Amazon DynamoDB. What is a shared responsibility for securing data stored in Amazon Glacier? Configuring automated scaling for Glacier storage capacity. Ensuring physical security of Glacier data centers. Configuring access controls for Glacier vaults. Setting up server-side encryption for Glacier archives. Configuring access controls for Glacier vaults is a shared responsibility for securing data stored in Amazon Glacier. Which security aspect falls under the customer's responsibility in the shared security model? Physical security of data centers. Application layer firewall settings. Monitoring AWS infrastructure health. DDoS protection for AWS services. Application layer firewall settings are part of the customer's responsibility in the shared security model. Which of the following is a way to control access to AWS resources? Network Access Control Lists, NACLs. Security Groups. IAM policies. All of the above. AWS offers a variety of ways to control access to resources, including IAM policies, security groups, and NACLs. In the shared security model, what is an example of AWS responsibility for Amazon CloudFront? Configuring custom SSL certificates for CloudFront distributions. Distributed denial of service, DDoS, protection. Monitoring end-user access logs. Securing application layer firewall settings. AWS is responsible for providing DDoS protection for Amazon CloudFront in the shared security model. Which AWS service allows customers to set fine-grained access controls for their S3 buckets and objects? Amazon S3 access points. Amazon Route 53. AWS Identity and Access Management, IAM. Amazon CloudFront. Amazon S3 access points allow customers to set fine-grained access controls for their S3 buckets and objects. What is an example of a customer's responsibility when using AWS Lambda? Configuring automated scaling for Lambda functions. Managing the load balancer for Lambda functions. Securing the physical servers running Lambda functions. Configuring function-level permissions. Configuring function-level permissions is a customer responsibility when using AWS Lambda. Which of the following is an example of a security control that is shared between AWS and the customer? Vulnerability scanning. Data encryption. Network segmentation. Incident response. Data encryption can be implemented by both AWS, for example, for data at rest in S3, and customers, for example, for data in transit between services. In the shared security model, who is responsible for managing and securing the hypervisor? Customer. Neither AWS nor customer. AWS. Both AWS and customer. Managing and securing the hypervisor is AWS responsibility in the shared security model. Which of the following is a compliance program that AWS supports? SOC 2. All of the above. HIPAA. PCI DSS. AWS supports a variety of compliance programs, including SOC 2, PCI DSS, and HIPAA. Which AWS service provides identity and access management capabilities to customers? Amazon CloudWatch. Amazon Route 53. AWS Identity and Access Management, IAM. AWS Key Management Service, KMS. AWS Identity and Access Management, IAM, is the service that provides identity and access management capabilities to customers. Which of the following is a way to secure data in transit between AWS services? AWS Direct Connect. All of the above. VPC peering. AWS VPN. AWS offers a variety of ways to secure data in transit, including VPN, Direct Connect, and VPC peering. Which of the following is not a benefit of using Amazon Inspector for vulnerability scanning? Automatically patches vulnerabilities. Prioritizes vulnerabilities based on severity. Identifies security vulnerabilities in AWS resources. Provides remediation recommendations. Inspector does not automatically patch vulnerabilities, it provides recommendations for manual patching. Which of the following is a best practice for securing data in AWS? All of the above. Encrypting sensitive data. Using strong passwords and multi-factor authentication. Enabling logging and monitoring. These are all best practices for securing data in AWS. Which of the following is not a best practice for securing passwords in AWS? Reuse passwords across multiple accounts. Rotate passwords regularly. Enable multi-factor authentication. Use complex and unique passwords. Reusing passwords across accounts significantly increases the risk of unauthorized access. Always use unique and complex passwords for each account. What is the responsibility of the customer in the shared security model when using Amazon S3 for storing sensitive data? Ensuring physical security of S3 data centers. Configuring automatic scaling for S3 storage capacity. Setting appropriate access controls and permissions. Managing the underlying hardware of S3 storage nodes. Setting appropriate access controls and permissions is a customer responsibility for securing data in Amazon S3. What is the purpose of AWS Trusted Advisor? Automates security patching. Helps diagnose and troubleshoot issues. Monitors resources for security threats. Provides recommendations for improving security, cost, and performance. trusted advisor focuses on offering recommendations for various aspects of your AWS environment. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more and hit the bell icon to be notified as soon as we upload. Please leave a comment if you have any thoughts or suggestions, and if you think this video is worth sharing with someone who could benefit from it, please forward a link to them. See you next time. Thanks for watching.